order for you to actually be able to convert these pitches, you have to go in providing value to where it's an easy and secured yes for the brand, to where they don't have to lift a finger. I talk about all the time when I see brands that have no diversity, or if they are on social media and they're only posting graphics and carousels, positioning yourself like, hey, I noticed that on your social media page, you have a lot of carousels. And while carousels are great, video content is actually the primary. Welcome to the Side Hustler Podcast, the podcast for women building their dreams while balancing work, family, and all the things. I'm your host, Carly LeBlanc, a wife, mom, marketer, and your side hustling friend here to teach you how to grow a brand that works for you and not the other way around. Whether you're a side hustling pro or just starting out, this is your safe place for real talk, actionable strategies, and the encouragement you need to keep going. We're here to help you make progress and not perfection. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's build your dream one step at a time. Hello, and welcome back to the Side Hustler Podcast. I'm your host, Carly, and I am super excited for today's episode. I feel like I say that in every single episode, but each episode is just very exciting. But today's episode, I have an extra special guest who is a friend of mine, who's basically family at this point, joining me for a conversation that you do not want to miss. My guest today is my very own friend, sis, Laurin Jo Olivo, who is a powerhouse in the influencer and content creation space. Laurin has been thriving in this industry for over 7 years, building an authentic online presence by sharing her journey through motherhood, navigating life as a single mom, and now stepping into a new chapter as a newlywed and coach's wife. She's worked with some of the biggest brands out there like Disney and Target and so much more, all through the power of organic content and strategic pitching. One thing about Laurin that I absolutely love is she knows how to ask for what she wants and gets it. She leveraged pitching to secure partnerships, travel experiences, and brand deals that align with her lifestyle. And now she's taken her content into a new direction, sharing affordable travel tips and bringing her audience along for the ride with her daughter, Riley Jo. Laurin and I actually connected on Instagram back in 2020, and she has been such a huge help in my journey, especially when it comes to putting myself out there and securing paid partnerships. So I had to bring her on the Side Hustler podcast to share her wisdom on pitching and partnerships and just how to make brands say yes to you. So if you ever wanted to land paid partnerships or travel for less, or even just confidently pitch yourself to brands, this episode is just for you. So grab your notebook because Laurin is about to drop all the gems. Let's get into it. If you're feeling stuck with social media and struggling to market your business online, I've got something just for you. I'm hosting a free 30-day social media challenge all month long, and it's not too late to join. This challenge is designed to help you finally understand how social media works for your business so you can start showing up with confidence, creating content that attracts your ideal audience, and turning followers into customers. And listen, I'm not just throwing a bunch of tasks and leaving you out hanging. We're having 2 live Q&A office hours throughout the challenge where you can ask questions, get direct feedback, and make sure you're staying on track. This challenge is completely free, so there's no excuse for you to sit out on the sidelines. Now, if you're serious about growing your brand online, sign up at cdcreativecoagency.com/challenge and join us now. That's cdcreativecoagency.com/challenge. It's also in the show notes below. Let's get you showing up and making moves online this month. I'm super excited to have you here. So for all of you that don't know, Laurin is one of my good, bestest friends, one of my best gals. She literally helps me with life in general. We literally do life together. We are both married. We're both moms. We are both content creators. And we haven't known each other that long, but it seems like we've been knowing each other for forever because we've just experienced a lot of different life experiences together. So over time, you've just become my really good sis, and I just love and adore you and your family. So yeah, I was just in Lauren's wedding. I was her matron of honor.
Sure was.
So yeah, we have literally been doing lives together since like 2019, 2020. I think
Yeah,
that's when we realized.
yeah.
That's
2020.
crazy. But
It is.
I say all this to say, like, I've seen Lauren evolve from being a single mom who's just out here grinding
Mhm.
and getting things done and making things happen to now, this amazing coach's wife and entrepreneur and all of the things. So I'm just so excited to have you here because I know that you're going to offer a lot of good insight to the listeners, and I know you have a lot of good knowledge and wisdom. So yeah, take us back to like when you first started your journey of being a content creator, because you've been in the game for a hot minute now. You're no spring chicken. So take us back to when you first decided that I'm gonna start creating content.
Yeah, so I mean, 8 years ago when my daughter was born, I was a single mother. I was trying to figure it out. I had a lot of people giving me information, the older women, like, hey, do this, breastfeed, do that. It's a lot coming at you. And
Yeah.
so I just had to find my own lane and say, okay, what information is beneficial to me and my daughter? So I literally just started jotting down notes I would hear from people or just like researching different things. And when I would talk to other mothers, I would tell them, hey, girl, like, don't buy that baby food. I don't know. Let's make it at home. I make Riley's. And people started reaching out, like, hey, what was that one thing you told me about? Or, hey, what was that one resource? And from there, I just started a blog and I just started writing 10 tips to know or 10 essential things you need when your baby is 30 days old or less or whatever it was. And from there, it kind of grew into this bigger platform to where when my daughter got a little older, I just used to randomly tag these companies like, hey, she has on Target or hey, she has on Oshkosh. And because I had a beautiful baby, I started getting feedback like, hey, can we post this picture or can we have and I was young and didn't know at the time. So I'm like, sure, we have big commercials and all this stuff. And it's funny because that's actually how she started walking in the Target commercial that she was in. And it's just crazy how me just wanting to share this information grew into this huge platform where I was like, okay, this is getting big. So yeah,
It's amazing. That's amazing. And I feel like also Riley, if you know Riley, she is such a light and it's so easy for her because it comes so natural.
it does.
And she's just a natural. So, of course, it makes it easier when you have an amazing, beautiful child and then they have this high spirit and they just love to like, be in front of the camera. So, and that was the funny thing. So, when I first met Lauren back in, I want to say it was 2020,
Mhm.
when I met Lauren, we were actually doing a campaign for a local brand. And I had like literally found her on Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh, she has her baby. Her baby has a Instagram page, and like Riley's posting all the content. And I'm like, what in the world? Like y'all are at Disney, y'all are doing all the things. I'm like, how in the heck do you have time to do this? Also, with you being a single mom at the time, because you weren't married, you hadn't even met one yet, so you were literally doing all of this while you were a single mom. How did you find the time to create content while having a full-time job, while also having a business? Because we haven't even gotten into your architect consulting business. How did you have time to do all of this when you first started?
It's hard. I mean, the first thing I would say is number one, give yourself grace.
Mm,
You know me. I have a million and one templates. I have a weekly planner, a daily planner, a monthly planner. I have to-do lists for every single day, month, week. Like my mind works in that way to where it's better for me if I can write out everything for the month and say, okay, I'm not going to say when exactly I need to get these things done, but this is what I need to get done this month. And then throughout the days, I can look at that list and say, okay, today I think I can accomplish one, two, three, and four. You know what I'm saying? That works better for me rather than to have it set in stone because then my anxiety is really high. But no, I mean, just give yourself grace, plan out what you want to do. One of my favorite books is The 12-Week Year by Brian Moran. I
you talk
post
about this book
I
all the
talk about it all the
time.
time. I need some royalties at this point. Yeah, I read it every January because honestly, and Sydney said it at your party, your vision board party. I mean, we write out goals for the year and then you're like, okay, I can do this by, and then October comes and you're like, oh crap, like
Yeah.
I haven't accomplished much. But if you write out your goals per quarter rather than per year, it really helps out. Because even for me, like my Q1 goals, I honestly accomplished 3 of them last night. I was like, let me just get this done. Like, let me just do this. And I didn't even think, I'm like, dang. So now, rather than having, let's say, 20 goals for Q1, now you have 20 goals for Q1, 20 goals for Q2, and you keep going, you know?
Mhm.
And then I tell Juan all the time, like, let's make our goals unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
let's
A
say we're gonna
challenge.
save 100,000 by December. And he's like, 100,000 like that. Let's just put it. You never
Yeah.
know, you know. And
Yeah.
so I like to have my goals a little bit on the edge of like insanity, just a little bit, so that
You
way
have to,
you have
because it has
to.
to be a challenge. It can't be something that you
Yes.
can just reach and just
Mm-mm.
not even bat your eye at, you know?
No, no. So, I mean, if that was
Yeah.
the case, I would just put, lose 1 pound. Lose 1 pound. Okay, yay, go me.
Hey, I lost
Yeah,
1 pound.
right. I lost weight.
That is
So,
insane.
yeah,
That is hilarious. But I think that you're right. I want to say when I first decided to start with content creation, had I been a little bit more strategic with my goals, I probably would be much, much further along.
me too.
Because when people think of content creation as something big, not just like a lousy little thing, but when you
Mhm.
actually are intentional about goals, when you're intentional about the effort that you're going to put behind it, that's when you'll actually see the fruits of your labor. But when you just are trying to just go off a whim or just trying to finesse your way through, you'll get lousy finesse your way through results. And I think that that's where I want to head, because I know when we first met, you used to like hound me like, you want these partnerships, you need to send out these pitches. I send out 50 pitches and sit down and knock all these out, and I'm like, dang, she's very ambitious. Like very ambitious. Like Lauren's like, yeah, the goal is 100 pitches, and I'm like, 100. But how? Like, walk me through that, because I think a lot of people are unaware. A lot of people think that brands reach out to you, and sometimes they do. But in the in between time, like you're doing a lot of outreach. So help us to understand what that looked like at the beginning. How did you even find out about pitching, and what made you have an initiative with pitching?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to age myself, but I feel like when I started as an influencer, it wasn't as glamorous. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just posting my cute kid, and I just made her a page because it was like Riley, Riley, Riley. Like, I'm like, the whole page can be her, but her
Yeah.
page can be her. And so I think the biggest thing is, I mean, you tell me all the time, just keep going, just post. If you're posting quality content, and I think you're a good example of this. If you post good quality content, they're going to reach out to you. And if you do one partnership and you do a good job, they're going to want more content. And so honestly, for me, I would just write down everything I want, whether it's diapers, that stroller, Jeep, whatever it is. I'm like, let me write down all my dream partnerships and let me just see who their competitors are, because hey, I may like someone else's brand better than theirs. You know what I'm saying? I may like another brand of diapers or whatever it is. And so you make a huge list of all the companies you want to work with or products, and then from there you make a pitch per category. And if it's hotels, I had a little sandwich thing I used to use in the story, like introduce yourself and then tell them, hey, I'm not going to waste your time. I know you get a lot of these emails every day. This is what I have to offer. And then you go into your research. I saw that you guys, just had a new renovation 3 years ago. I would love to showcase that. Show them how you can bring them value. And then once you have your pitch, you actually let them know I can offer A, B, C, and D. I can give you drone footage. I can give you 2 reels and I don't know, 4 photos in 6 days, right? It's gonna be me, my husband, and my daughter coming. I'm saying all of this out loud because I have to do more pitching tonight. For a trip that's in 2 weeks. But I mean, you have to like you sandwich it together to show them, hey, this is where my value comes, but also this is where I can bring you value. And
Yeah.
then from there, you go on their website, scroll all the way down to the bottom. Usually there's some type of button that says press. From there, you'll get their email that says like inquiries at press dot whatever. And then you just email them. And then I love my email because it shows me when they open it. And then I have this little, I don't know if it's this weird stalker in me or whatever, but if they don't open it within a week, I'm following up like, hey, just following up. Did you get my email below? In a nicer way, of
Mhm.
course. But I would love to do a partnership with you guys. I think I can bring this value. Here's some photos I took at another hotel. Would you be interested? And
Yeah.
then from there, I always tell people it's like 1 in 50.
Yeah.
If you email 50 companies, you may get one. You
Yeah.
may get 20. Nowadays, people are responding. So you may get 20 that say, hey, thank you so much for your email, Lauren. We're not interested in this time.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, it's like 1 in 50. So I say 100 because I'm like, let's keep our options open. I don't want to be desperate. If I get that 1 out of 50, what if it's that one that I'm like, um, I like it. It's cool. I really wanted this one. They didn't hit me back. So, 100 to 150 is really ideal
Yeah.
or
And that's
consistent.
basically like a formula. Like if you plan to close at least 10 of those, then you know that your outreach volume is going to have to be high. And it's more so a numbers game.
Yeah.
If you know for a fact, okay, every time I send out 10 pitches, I get 3 responses. And of those 3 responses, one is a yes,
Yep.
then you know that you're at least going to hit 10%. So if your plan is to secure 10 partnerships and you know you have to increase the volume of the pitches that you send out.
Yeah.
And so I really like how you broke down the parts of a compelling pitch because I think a lot of people, and even me myself when I was first starting, had no idea about pitching. When I first was starting to put myself out there and pitch, I mean, of course, you're like sliding in the DMs is very cringy, but if you don't put yourself out there, you're never gonna get what you want.
Mm.
And so I think when I first started pitching, I was just always coming as an approach like, hey, I want to work with you, but not actually telling them how I can help them. In order for you to actually be able to convert these pitches, you have to go in providing value to where it's as easy and secured yes for the brand to where they don't have to lift a finger. If you're taking something off of their plate, if you're finding a problem or a gap in their social media or their website, provide yourself as a solution to be for that brand. So I talk about all the time when I see brands that have no diversity, or if they are on social media and they're only posting graphics and carousels, positioning yourself like, hey, I noticed that on your social media page, you have a lot of carousels. And while carousels are great, video content is actually the primary. Y'all already know I'm all about working smarter and not harder, especially when it comes to marketing your brand. And if you're still relying only on social media to reach your audience, we need to fix that immediately. Social media is cute, but let's be real. The algorithm is unpredictable, and your content is probably only reaching a small percentage of your followers. That's why I swear by email marketing, because when I send an email, I know 100% of my subscribers are getting my messages. And the best part, Flowdesk makes it ridiculously easy. You can send beautiful on-brand emails, automate your sequences, and even create landing pages without needing to be tech savvy. And because you're listening, I got you a deal. Use my code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout and you'll get 50% off your Flowdesk subscription for the next 12 months. So if you're ready to stop relying on algorithms and start building a email list that actually converts, try Flowdesk for free. And don't forget to use the code SIDEHUSTLE at checkout for that exclusive 50% off piece of content that is consumed across social media platforms. I would love to help you create some video content for you to put on your page, some UGC content showing me using your product or using your service so that way you can start getting fresh eyes on your brand. I think when you position yourself as a solution, you already identify the problem as a consumer that this brand has because if you are already like wanting, and that's another thing. Look, I'm all over the place. You want to make sure that you are pitching yourself to brands that are relatable to the content that you create. It's going to be super hard if you are posting beauty content, but then you are trying to pitch to hotels and you have no hotel content on your page. It's like, make it make sense. If you're going to be a lifestyle content creator, okay, that's a little bit more lenient, but you need to have examples of the content that you create before you pitch to the brand. So if you know that, okay, my goal is to secure some travel partnerships, then that means that you should be going on trips or even any trips that you already have planned. Make sure that you're creating content so that you can add it to your portfolio. So when you do decide to pitch to these people, you already have an example of what your work looks like. And then also the brand isn't in the black, like, okay, we want to take a risk on this person, but we don't know what type of content they're capable of creating.
Yeah,
And so I think that when you position yourself in alignment with that brand, but then also position yourself as a solution to that brand, you are more likely to convert that pitch rather than if you're missing those two elements of your pitch.
agreed. I love what you said, like, be the solution. That's what
Yeah.
they need. Like, can we pay this girl whatever to get this off our hands? Because if
Yeah.
you think about it, most business owners, even bigger businesses, marketing, I mean, unless you have millions, marketing is usually not the thing that they're like so excited about. Oh, let's go, you know,
Absolutely.
shoot photos and get influencers. So if you email them, and timing's everything too, like you said, you go on their website or you go on their page, they don't have many videos. Like, you need videos.
Yeah.
And most
Yeah.
employees are not just gonna go out and make videos. So,
No.
yeah.
No, but even if you're finding just those gaps, like even if you see like, no offense to anyone, but if you have like a brand that has like no representation, no minorities, use that as an advantage to position yourself. If you know that you're a part of a certain community and that community is not represented by the brand, then definitely position yourself to the brand like, hey, I'm a part of this community and we value products like this, but we don't see people that look like us on your page. Let us help you expand and diversify your audience by bringing me on as a partner or allowing me to help you create some UGC content so that way you can continue to build your audience and grow your audience. And so, yeah, I think and honestly, it's one of those things like now with me being a marketer and having my own content creation agency, I see both sides of things. Like I see myself as the influencer side, but I also see like what happens behind the scenes with the brands. And you're right. Business owners are super busy. They don't have time to create content for their own brand. Sometimes they don't even want to get in front of the camera. A
Or
lot
the
of them are
budget.
very cringy. Yeah, they want to be behind the scenes. Like they want to just, be the person to just ditch out the money. And that's where there's a gap. Brands are not hiring these celebrities anymore.
No.
They want real people, real organic people who are going to tell the truth, who are going to be authentically themselves, who are going to show up and just talk about how good their product is, how amazing their service is, or whatever it is. But if you can position yourself to be like, hey, CEO, like, let me take this off of your plate.
Yeah.
I see you're struggling with your marketing. Like,
Yeah.
let me take this off of your plate. I guarantee you will have a higher percentage of converting rather than just putting yourself like, hey, I want to take your money, pay me to do this.
Yeah.
Well, you're not even exchanging anything of value to that person.
No.
So
And that makes me think about a
definitely.
negative theory too. Like, we are not these like self-centered people that wake up. We woke up like this Beyonce, like love to take pictures. You see us in public taking a million pictures. We actually are like bums, like rather not get out the bed, rather not do our hair in our heated blanket up to our
Yeah.
neck. It's not like a selfish thing. It's just like we know what it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
And we rather get the shot rather than care about you looking at us get the shot. So,
No, for sure. For sure. I think about that all the time. I, for the most part, am very crew neck, like hair in a bonnet most of the time. Like not even wearing a
yes.
bra sometimes. But
No.
like whenever
No.
I show up and I need to show up, I will. But for the most part, like you will hardly ever just always catch me with a beat face. Whereas people think that
Don't
it's required. And I think when influencing was first becoming a thing in 2020, we were thinking like, okay, all of our pictures have to be so curated. We have to have the beat face, we have to have the cute outfits, we have
Photoshop.
to have hair, makeup, everything, full
Yeah.
glam.
Yeah.
I feel like that was one of the things that hindered me at the beginning because I'm like, I have to get a photographer. I have to have somebody to take my pictures. I have to
Yeah.
shoot on a camera. I have to have full glam. Like my hair has to be done. And then you're spending all this money and then it's like you're not making any of that money back. And then the next week comes around and you're running out of content. So you have to do it all over again. And
Yeah.
so I really love how there's been this shift of like people just showing up organically them,
Yeah.
like
With the phone.
in yeah, in their bonnet, in their pajamas, rolling out of bed. Like sometimes people don't even put on makeup. Like I think I love
Wow.
that because it really shows like the authentic version and proves to people that you don't have to be this super glamorous person to make money online. You just have to be yourself. And I know that's super cliche, but literally, you just have to be yourself.
Yeah. People gravitate more to that. I mean, I
Mhm.
was watching a video earlier where a girl had just had a baby and she's like, "Oh, is that the baby?" Like her husband took the baby. She was in the bathroom and every 5 seconds she's like, "Is that the baby? I got to take a shower. Is that the baby?" Like that's how it is. Like, and it's just
Yeah.
what it is. You just be yourself. So,
Yeah, and I was literally thinking while you were saying this, I'm like, my most like high performing pieces of content has been content that I never would have thought would have
no.
performed well. It was like me in postpartum where I'm pumping and I'm talking about like trying to increase my milk supply
Or
and
gumbo.
making gumbo or even when Avery was in the shower fully clothed, like those are moments that were not curated. They were just
No.
me just in the moment, like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna capture this. So Avery has been having like these dry spots in the back of his head. And like I've been like oiling his scalp like every night
Mhm.
before he goes to bed. But I was like, last night, I'm gonna put you a do-rag on. And I literally like I literally
Daddy's
got a
son.
do-rag and recorded it. I'm like, I need to send this to Lauren. She's gonna go crazy. But it was the cutest thing ever. And I'm like, this is gonna be a good piece of content for me to post. I'm just trying to figure out like what overlay I want to put on there. But I
Did
was
you
thinking
send
about
it to your
it.
husband? Because your
I
husband has been
did. I
waiting for
did.
this
He was
moment
like
his whole
shaking my
life.
head. And I was like, Avery, am I stressing you out? He's like, yeah.
So honest, he's like, yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, he's just so innocently him.
Yeah.
But even like when we were sitting there at the island and eating chicken salad, and he's like, cheers. And I was like, let me pull up my camera. But
So
it's like
cute.
little pieces of content, moments like that perform like
Yeah.
the best. And people are like mind blown. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this literally took 2 seconds for me to record. But then, of course, all of them curated, like, let me get the angles and
Yeah.
make sure I glam. It's like
Yeah.
flop,
Yeah.
complete flop.
Yeah. Literally. It spent so long doing it. It's like
Yeah.
it's a waste.
Over it for sure. So I want you to take me back to your first partnership. Do you remember your first brand partnership? And was it paid? Was it a product exchange? What was it? Do you remember?
So weirdly enough, and it doesn't, I want to preface this by saying this is not normal. So I literally was just like moving, like just doing a whole bunch of stuff at once. And so Riley had, I think I mentioned that Riley had like a photo shoot and like a commercial she was doing for Target, and she was like a baby. And so we were really excited about that. And that was just like for clothes, right? Like, hey, you have a super cute baby. We're going to be downtown Houston. We're going to come and bring her. I'm like, well, I'll bring her, but what's going on? They're like, okay, we're just going to give you the clothes and she's going to be in a few ads. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, well, someone going to hold her because she doesn't walk? And they're like, oh, we have other kids there. I'm like, okay. So long story short, she goes, it's great. She walked at that commercial that we went to. And then 2 days later, I literally found the email for Disney. And I'm like, hey, I would love to bring my daughter and pitch it being a new thing to bring smaller kids to Disney. Because every time you talk about Disney, it's like, oh, my kids are too young. My kids are too young. Well, for me, I'm like, hey, what if we pitch? No, they will remember. That's the biggest thing. They're not going to remember. What if that's the angle? And Disney immediately, I will never forget, they responded back, absolutely, yes. We're going to give you 4 hopper passes. Just let us know when you want to come. Here's the link. They have a whole portal and everything for influencers. Let us know when you want to come. Let us know what you want to provide. And like I said, at this point, I wasn't really big on like the sandwich I was talking about. It was a very simple email. It wasn't the meat and potatoes. And they said,
Wow.
yeah. So it wasn't paid per se, but I got 4 hopper passes, which if anyone's been to Disney, for one day it's 180. And so to hop from park to
Wow.
park, it can be expensive. So
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard about the story with the Target commercial until
yeah.
now.
I'll show
I
you
did
the
not know that.
photos. It's like all these kids and then her, and they're holding on to her hands. I'll have to show you the
Wow.
photo.
I knew about Target when I think you had shared with me your media kit, but I don't think I've ever heard about the Target experience.
Yes. Yeah. I'll show you the photo. All the photos are basically geared around her not walking. Like she's on someone's head in one photo. She's holding their hands in another photo. Like she couldn't walk. So
Wow. That is so crazy. And all of that happened because you were already posting organic content.
I was just posting
Like
and
they reached out to
tagging.
you
Yeah.
and was like, "We want your daughter in our commercial."
Yeah. Target reached out to me. I reached out to Disney, but I mean, it goes both ways. I mean, if I really want some, I mean, right now, I'm manifesting a partnership
Yeah.
with Ford. I want
Yeah.
a whole fleet of Broncos. If you know me, I love my Bronco. I want a fleet outside my house.
Listen, as a Jeep girly, I'm literally cringing on the
Well,
inside.
we're off roaders. That's what it is. We have the connection of having off road trucks. You know what I'm saying? I love it so much. This summer, I'm going to Galveston. I'm taking off all the doors and the top all the way off. I know
Yeah.
you've seen the top halfway off, but the
Yeah.
top is coming off. And I got some good content. I am here. I am ready. I'll do it. I'll do it.
So I want to talk about advice that you would have for somebody that is starting off, because I think a lot of people may go on your page and say, she has thousands and thousands of followers. Like, this will never work for me. Like, what advice do you have for someone that's just getting started out? Maybe 1,000 followers or however many, or even less than 1,000. Because I think people think that the follower number is what matters. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt really good about the content you're putting out? Are you tired of scrambling to post, feeling like you're never ahead, or just unsure on how to show up online consistently? Now, if you're nodding your head, I want you to listen up, because my content intensive package was made just for you. Here's the deal. In just one day, we'll create 1 to 2 months worth of high quality, impactful content that will have your brand showing up consistently and professionally. This isn't just some cute little photo shoot. No, ma'am. This is a full-blown, done-for-you content experience that includes everything you need to elevate your brand and connect with your audience. Oh, and did I mention this is an all-inclusive experience? Because yes, girl, we're getting it all done in one go. Whether you're launching something new, building a personal brand, or scaling your business, this package is everything you need to show up online without the stress. And I want to help you do it. So let's talk about it. Head over to cdcreativecoagency.com/contact to book your free discovery call. I want to learn everything about you, your brand, your goals, and how we can make this happen for you. You don't need to keep struggling to figure out what to post. Let's get your content done in one day so you can focus on growing your business. Now let's get back to the show.
That's what I was going to say. That's the
Yeah.
biggest piece of advice. Like, when I first started, I literally was like, oh, I need 50,000 followers. Like, let me do this. And then after a while, it's like, you don't. Like, you see people with 2,000 followers, but the content is there.
Yeah.
It's quality over quantity. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter how many followers you have. If you have good content, I mean, I see people I follow right now that have amazing content and they only have 5,000 followers, but they're getting partnerships with Google and Sony, you know? And so really take the time to plan out what you want to do and be strategic about your posting. And I mean,
Yeah.
it comes in phases. Sometimes I'll be really excited about posting, and other times or other weeks I'm like, ugh. Like, honestly, this week is one of those weeks where I'm like, I'm really vested into looking into my business venture that I'm looking into right now. And I don't care to post. So I'm gonna post today because I have a folder on my phone of like content that I'm like, okay, if you need some last minute content, post here. But I mean, I just don't feel like posting this week. And that's okay too, you know. But in the words of Carlissa, just keep going, you know, like just post. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think, you know, people in the world and, you know, primarily Libras, we're very, you know, we're perfectionists. We're like, it has to be right. You can't post it if it's not right. But like you said, I mean, sometimes that stuff that's not right is what you really, you know, get the most feedback on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so funny you say that, because I'm like, Lauren, just post the content. And she's like, I gotta get my fonts and my text over content,
It
even
was
after all
hard.
this time. And sometimes, like, and you're right, Lauren sometimes will be like, I'm getting in my bag this week. Like, I got all my content. And then sometimes I'm like, Lauren, where have you been? Like, I ain't seen you,
MIA.
girl. I shared on the podcast before when I first got my first paid partnership. I had less than 2,000 followers. It was with Pet Suites, which is like the pet resort with my dog.
Yeah.
And they gave us free training, but then also They wanted me to post 3 stories, and it's so funny. I remember all the details still, but they wanted me to post 3 stories and one reel, and they paid me $1,500 to do so. And I literally had like maybe like 18. I want to say I had like 1,800 followers, but
Yeah.
prior to that, like I had a lot of like other gifted collaborations from like,
Mhm.
those platforms that we all signed up
Of
for, like
course.
collectively and
Yeah.
social media, and all of those things. But yeah, I had a lot of product exchange partnerships already that I was posting about. And then eventually Pet Sweets reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I see you have a dog. I love your content. Want to see if you want to
Mhm.
come into one of our locations. We'll pay you for the content." And that was my first partnership, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this could be a thing."
Yeah.
And it became contagious because then you're like, "Oh, if I could get this one, it's a wrap. I can definitely get more, you know?" And so I want everyone to just be encouraged. When people say it's not about the number, it's more so about the content and the quality of content. Focus on that. I know it's so easier said than done,
Yeah.
but if we sat here and waited till we hit a certain number of followers, we would be literally sitting here twiddling
No.
our fingers for
Yeah.
forever.
Wouldn't
I've literally
happen.
been at 7,000 followers for the past 2.5 years. Every year I'm like, I'm hit 10K this year. I'm here. This year, I don't have to stress about it. We're just
Yeah.
going with the vibes,
Yeah.
okay? Let me just focus on building my community of people that can
Mhm.
relate to me rather than just having a bunch of random people on my page that don't even engage, don't talk to me when I talk to them,
Mhm.
don't like anything, don't, so
Yeah.
just focusing on your content rather than the number is what's really going to help you to be successful and to put yourself out there, because even then I think this is something we didn't talk about was there's differences between influencers and UGC creators. And I know Lauren, originally you started off as an influencer, but now you're kind of like pivoting towards the UGC lane.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a missed opportunity that a lot of people don't take advantage of, because the difference between the two is basically influencers are people that have the huge audiences. They have, very niche community,
Yeah.
very engaged community.
Yeah.
Whereas UGC are just, regular people. They may have 100 followers.
Yeah.
They may have 50 followers, but
Yeah.
their content is just really, really good. And what the difference is that UGC typically, when they're first getting started, is they're creating the content with the intention that I'm going to eventually monetize this.
Yes.
Say for instance, if I'm wanting to get a partnership with Stanley, then I'm going to start creating, content about the Stanley cups, whether I'm, a mom on the go and I'm
Yeah.
bringing my cup of water and I'm getting a cup for my kid and this, that, and the third. And then you basically create that content organically. You buy the products organically, and then
Mhm.
you turn around and pitch yourself to the company like, "Hey, I created this piece of content. I think that this will be very valuable to your audience because, it does this and it talks about this. Let me know if you're interested in using this content or using these B-rolls to either run an ad or post on your own page or
Yep.
even just post on your story." And that's how UGC are able to monetize their content even without having a huge audience. And so I think it's really good. I'm super excited for you because I think UGC is about to be your lane and you're literally just going to thrive, because when you first started, you were doing all kinds of lifestyle, you're doing
Yeah.
travel, but
Yeah.
now you're like doing all the things. Like,
Yeah.
how does it feel to be able to pivot from the influencer lane to now to UGC?
I mean, for me, it really makes more sense. Like I was saying, wanting to really be behind the camera a little bit more. But not only that, like when I think about me as a child and me growing up, I really love photography. I love
Mhm.
capturing moments. Even to this day, sometimes when I'm bored, I just go back in my phone and look at like trips we've been on, and I'll just send Juan random stuff. Like, remember when you was on that camel and he started crying, like I just like I love content. Like I feel like, it's very important for the world that we're in now, and especially when you have loved ones who are no longer here and you have that footage, those photos, that content. I mean, it just makes you feel
Mhm.
good. And so I really do love capturing moments. And so it really just makes more sense for me to be in that lane.
Yeah.
I know that I am able to influence because I've always been that person. If I got the answers, you got the answers. If I hit the lotto, all my people good. Like I've always been the type to want to share information. So, that will be there. I'll never not have that. But like actually being able to be behind the camera or even be in front of the camera to get just good quality content, I'm really looking forward to that this year.
Okay. I love that because
Yeah.
Me and Lauren, we have these conversations organically like all the time. And we'll literally talk to each other every single day, but every single time on the phone, it's like an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's talk about the husband, let's talk about the
Yes.
kids.
Yes.
Oh, how's business going? Oh, did you post this content? Did you see?
Yeah.
Like, we're literally
Yeah.
all over the place. So this is honestly organically how we communicate when we're on the phone.
And I don't think I told you this before. I really appreciate our relationship because it's like you need friends who don't only tell you the good. You need friends that tell you everything. Like, hey girl, your hair look good, or no,
Yeah.
try it again. Like you need friends that's gonna tell you like, no sis, don't buy that 10th car. Like you
Yeah.
need friends to tell you that because can tell you look nice, but who's gonna tell you have broccoli in your teeth? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
also, you need friends you can pray with. Like you were going in earlier, and I'm like, girl, just pray about it.
Listen.
As much as I wanted to tell you, girl, go ahead, handle your business. I'm like, Lauren, that's the old single you. You're married now. You have to talk to your spouse. Don't tell this woman. Don't tell this woman that. Tell her to give it to the Lord. And that's
No, that's
what it needs
funny.
to be. Or like when I call you and you like, stop, let's pray. Like you need those friends. You need
You
those
do.
friends.
You
You
do. And
know?
that's why I say, like, we literally do life with one another. Cause I literally, full transparent, like, my husband literally, like, pissed me off today. And the first person I called was like, I have to call Lauren. Like, because one, I know that she's gonna be like, nuck if you buck, but then, like, okay, figure it out
Yeah.
with your man and with guys,
Yes.
sis. Like,
Always.
we gonna be like, huh? We gonna be a
We're
listening
gonna get
ear, but
hyped,
then
but then we're gonna give
also
it to
get you
Jesus.
right.
Yeah. No, you gotta it's balance. It's hood and holy. Like we gonna go back to Jesus and say, all right, bro. You said like this is what it is, you know?
I want us to talk about what it was like adjusting from single Lauren to now married Lauren with Riley, with business, with job, with content creation. Like, what do you say has been like the biggest adjustment with like balancing all of your roles, especially with being a coach's wife, because that's a whole nother category for its own.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know they did half of this. I didn't know any of this. We met online. We met on the
Mhm.
Facebook dating app. And like he lived 2 hours away where we live now. I was still in Cyprus living my best life. And I
Yeah.
just told my therapist this too. Even though I'm happy we met when we met and it was very strategic for God to do it that way, I really wish I would have met him earlier in my career because like we were two separate people living our best life, doing everything separately. We weren't dependent on anybody. He had his own house, I had my own. He had his career, I had mine. So bringing two people together who have big careers is hard. A lot of
Yeah.
people just go to work and come home, and that is okay. That is okay. I'm not shading that at all. But like I am 100% dedicated to my career, which is tied to my business. And he is 1000% dedicated to his career as a coach of football, basketball, and track. And I'll just throw this in here. He was also a triathlete in college, so played all of these sports in college and was good at it. And so it's really hard to balance the two where I'm having to travel out the state to go do a site walk and he got a game and Riley got chess and soccer and I'm like, oh, crap, like what do we do? You know what I'm saying? So it's not easy, but I really thank God for my husband because he is a partner to the 10th power. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, all right,
1,000.
this was gonna happen. You gonna call the school. I'm gonna take her to school. She's gonna ride the bus to my high school. She's gonna come with me to practice. Then she's gonna come with me to the game. And then I'm gonna stop on the way home and get her something to eat. And then we're gonna, like he is that person. And I
Yeah.
needed that. Like they ask all the time, like, what's your love language? Single parents, like most single women, when you meet them, you can buy them stuff. Yeah, you can buy me my favorite perfume. I love all of that. But like, take something off the to-do list, bruh. Because the
Actually,
to-do list is
servicing.
long, okay? It's long. It's a lot. Take something off my plate. Because when you
Yeah.
say, hey, don't worry about getting Riley from the bus, I already got her. I'm like, what? What?
Listen, you want another baby now or now?
Now, tomorrow, right now? Okay, right now. You right now. Okay. Yeah. It's a given. You tell
Yeah.
me I already washed the dishes. Like, what? What did you just
No.
say?
Yes.
Take initiative.
Yes.
So, I mean, it takes two people. It is hard. I haven't mastered it yet. I mean, we've only been married, what, 4 or 5 months in September. And so, it's balanced, but we communicate well. We always communicated well. That's one thing I will say. And it feels good. It doesn't feel toxic like other
Yeah.
relationships have felt. It doesn't feel forced. He's not trying to be something he's trying to be. I don't have to wear my wig all the time if I don't want to. Like, it feels good. He can walk in and I'm just like, woo, like, and he like, okay, like it's fine. I can wear my bonnet. I don't know what it is with guys nowadays saying they don't want their girls to wear bonnet.
Oh my
He
gosh.
wears the bonnet sometimes because he been growing his hair out, honey. He was like, "Where that bonnet at? Like,
My
you want
gosh.
my gel and my bonnet and my good comb? Okay."
I just feel like y'all just compliment one another so well. First of all, for those of you who don't know, I was a wreck at Lauren's wedding, like literally bawling, sobbing, and I'm not even an emotional person. So, but it
You
was
really
just
are.
so beautiful because you could genuinely see how much they love one another and they adore one another and they really are each other's partnership. If I could give an example of how coming together and become meshing your families together as one and becoming a blended family, oh my gosh, you definitely would be the blueprint. Because when I tell you, it wasn't just the wedding, because you know how sometimes everybody just, puts on an act for a wedding.
Yeah.
Like, this is real life, how you guys live your
Yeah.
day to day lives behind the scenes when nobody's looking.
Yes.
This is real deal.
Yeah.
And so I just commend you because, and commend Juan because Juan is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love my brother. And I feel like I could have not thought of someone who was better fit. He is just amazing.
It's amazing. I commend him too, because I'm a lot. I'm not gonna lie. If he were here right now, he would be looking at me like, "You right."
Yeah.
I'm a lot, but I bring a lot to the table too. Like,
Yeah.
I literally time him coming home and have his food on the table. So when he comes home, food is already hot and on the table.
Yeah.
I literally am like going out of my way to go have lunch with him or go have lunch with Riley, going to
Yeah.
games, taking
That
kids
was
to games.
yesterday. How was
Yeah,
that?
literally.
That was yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally like, all right, you have a sleepover this weekend. We're gonna have your whole team over next weekend. I require a lot, but I bring the table like I am the table.
Yeah.
Like, and so you
I
have to,
like that.
you
That's a
have
good
to,
one.
but you have to have balance. And you're the same way. You're like, all right, I'm a lot, I'm extra, but I promise it's worth it. Like, you're gonna
Yeah.
have fun on this trip. You're gonna have fun on this date. You and AJ go out and y'all be playing basketball. Like, you gotta have fun together.
Yeah.
And he needed that balance. This man had never taken a day off in 7 years, bruh. He had all his PTO. I'm like,
That's
there's
crazy.
no way. I'm literally like, how much PTO I
And
got?
then I was like, and then you get married to Lauren, who's like, we're going on a trip. I found some flights. Listen,
I found flights for 100. We're leaving tomorrow.
we're leaving tomorrow. It's like, what? Like,
Yeah, your
yeah,
bag's
no.
already packed. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. My bag's packed? Okay, cool.
Y'all literally balance each other out so well.
We do, because he's patient. That's, if I could say one thing that he's taught me, is patience. Like, he's so his and I think AJ and him have this in common where they're just so chill. Like, remember that dinner we went to when we were all
And then at 7:48, like causing a scene. I'm like, this is embarrassing, but it's hilarious. In a five-star restaurant, just wilding. Like, and the funny thing is everybody at the table are very successful people.
very,
We're very successful
very
people. Like,
right,
gotta have money,
$1,000
but
at
we
that
in
table
here
with food.
literally just having
Literally.
a good old jolly
Having
time
fun,
in this
cracking
restaurant.
up, laughing, just talking about nothingness, right? But yeah, he is just a very patient person. He teaches me to slow down, even though
Yeah.
he can forget his keys or his wallet. He does teach me it doesn't have to be that serious. Like, let's just calm down. Let's take it one thing at a time. And so I
Yeah.
needed that in my life because, like I said, I was like Riley got swim, Riley got cheer, she got this, she got that. Okay, let's keep it going.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think that y'all do a good job of not only coming into each other's lives, but getting used to each other's lifestyles because we talk about this all the time, like how you were used to a certain lifestyle when you were single and then having to, transition to where like, okay, whenever I do go somewhere, I have
Yeah.
to let my spouse know. You know, I have
Yeah.
to be like, okay, considering that person
Yeah.
whenever I'm booking a trip. And so I think that brings me to my next thing, because I know what a lot of people don't know. When you first started, you are always talking about experiences and travel. And that's one thing that you absolutely love to do. And then you get married to your husband who's like never been out the country, like never
Yeah.
experienced anything outside of Texas. Because also, and this is another thing, Lauren, she does these lavish trips, but also focuses on affordable travel and making
Always.
travel affordable for the regular everyday person. And so I want you to talk about, what does that look like when you have became married? Now you're like wanting to travel, you're wanting to experience things with one, but how you have been able to leverage your audience and being able to secure partnerships to where now you can bring one on these experiences, but then, have little to no cost for those things.
I think, growing up in Indiana, travel seemed like this superstitious thing where it was like, oh, it's so expensive. Like, we don't go there. We don't do that. When you're in Indiana, travel is like Vegas. People go to Vegas like 20 times a year. And actually, I just went to Vegas for the first time 2 years ago to see my ex husband, Bruno Mars, in concert. And Vegas was fun. Like,
We're
Vegas
not
was
gonna
fun.
move on like she did not just say
But
ex-husband.
like, I'm always like, how can we save and still have a good time? Because who want to spend money if you don't have to? And I know people look at my career and they're like, oh no, she got it, so she spent it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll spend it if I want to. Like Bruno was a pretty penny. But like, if you don't have to, why? If you can stay up one night till 2 o'clock in the morning and book a flight for $100 and go to Florida with your family, that may be a risk I'm willing to take. I'm not down in any travel agents out there. Do your thing. I love it. But for me personally, I'd rather do the grunt work on all these 20 apps I have on my phone to see, all right, how can I get the bags free? All right, let me leverage your credit card to put it on this credit card because I get $100 off here. It's like a mind game I play with
Yeah.
myself that I'm almost like obsessed with. And Juan's like, you doing the most. And I know if Dave Ramsey was here, because I love Dave Ramsey, he would be saying I'm like, penny pinching and doing the most for some points. But it's not really only about the points. It's really about just getting affordable experiences. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I like to say I will never, well, I just said actually like a month ago, like I will never travel with this airlines again because I had a bad experience. But I'm like, all right, let me give them another chance. That was one experience. No one's never perfect. Like, let me just try Soul Plane one more time to
Well,
see if it's good because these flights is $2.35. And I really want to go somewhere with my daughter because we haven't been anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I just rather spend money on experiences. I like clothes and shoes and purses, all that stuff. But I can get me a sweater from Walmart and some leggings from Walmart and some shoes that I already got, and I'm good. And
or
then
athletics.
or Fabletics. Yes, this is Fabletics. Thank you for the plug. Or Fabletics, which I wear all the time, all day, every day. So you got Fabletics pockets. I mean, who wouldn't want to save money on travel? That's
Yeah.
always my thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, you may have to do a little bit of extra work on the front end, but to me, it's worth it.
But
Because you're
listen,
learning.
and in result, my girl is well traveled, and Riley is well traveled, honey.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We
Period.
love to travel. And I mean, for kids it's really good too because it's great experiences. She came back with euros, with pesos. She came back with stuff from Paris and stuff from London, telling her teacher like, "Hey, I rode this Euro train to London. It was 2 hours. They gave me an extra stamp at the train station." Like, she learns a lot. She'll see the Burj
Yes.
Khalifa, like that's the tallest building in the world. Like you learn so much on these trips, and I literally use it as learning experiences so that she can learn.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I did want to ask one last question for all of our listeners. What is one piece of advice that you would give to women who are balancing multiple roles, who are wanting to build their life that they can love and enjoy and experience and document, kind of similar to where you are, where you started and where you're trying to go? What do you feel like is one good piece of advice that you could give them?
I mean, mainly it's just to start. I have a million and one notebooks around here where I'm like taking notes, trying to gather as much information as possible. But like, in this world right now, it's like information overload. It's so many people talking like, click here, get my freebie, get this, get that, like download this, watch this video. It's overwhelming. So
Mhm.
like if you just start, like you just make a list of everything you need to do. Once you've done your research, right? I'm not telling you to start a million businesses, right? Once you've done your due diligence and your research and you know for sure this is what you want to do, start just making those connections and like take somebody out to lunch or to get coffee that is in the industry that you're in and ask them a lot of questions. I do that all the time. I literally just wrote an agent that I used to be around all the time in Houston. I'm like, hey, I really need to talk to you. Next time I come in town, can we meet up and get coffee? You know, like I'm picking their brain. Like just start. Don't
Yeah.
like you want to fill up a notebook full of stuff. I get it. I'm the same way, but like just start, just make progress. That's all I can say. Just make progress. Cause then you look up and it's January again, and then you're like, oh, all I have is a notebook full of notes that, it's overwhelming to go
Ideas.
back. Ideas. It's overwhelming to go back to try to figure out where you even start, you know?
Yeah.
So
No, that's good.
yeah.
That's good. I love that. I actually have nothing to say about that.
That's my own advice to people, and that's my advice to myself too, because
Yeah.
as I listen to all these videos all day, I listen, but then I take action. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I'm already looking into stuff I want to do this year. So I listen, I talk to my husband, he's in agreement. I talk to God, he's in agreement. All right, cool. We all on the same page.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I think that you said that's well said because before you know it, if you continue to plan, because we are all about the plans, we will come up with a strategy. We know how to write a business plan,
Oh,
okay?
honey.
We can write a business plan, but it's like there comes a time for us to write the vision and make it plain, but there also becomes a time where we need to execute those same plans.
Absolutely.
And we can't allow fear or imposter syndrome or perfection or someone else is doing what I'm doing, or all of those other things and limiting beliefs that are in our head to stop us in our tracks from doing what we have to do or what we said we are going to do. Because before you know it, life is passing you by. And like you said again, it's January again, and you're talking about, I'm going to take my content creation serious this year.
Yeah.
How can we move forward to where we're not in the same place where we were last year? And it all starts with you just taking the first step of putting yourself out there.
Yep. That's it. Just do
I
it.
love that.
Just
I
do
love
it. Nice
Yeah. Well, thank you, my sis, for joining me
problem.
on the Side Hustler podcast. You're definitely one of my first family friends that has joined
Yay.
me. So
I'm so
everyone else has
happy.
been friends. So you're the first family member
Yeah.
on the Side Hustler podcast. So thank you so much, sis. And I
No
love you so much.
problem. Love you too. I'm so proud of you. You're an inspiration to us all. I will say that every time I'm down, I'm like, all right, Carly's going. I got to keep going.
Yeah, keep going. Also, before we go, Lauren, where can everyone follow you on social media so they can see all of your travel adventures and your affordable lifestyle tips and hacks?
Yeah. So I am on Laurin Jo on Instagram, LaurinJo. And then on Facebook, Laurin Jo Olivo, LLIV as in Victor O. And then our blog is lifeofjojoblog.com. So that's it. That's where we
Thank
are.
you, sis. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
No
I love you so
problem.
much.
Love
This
you
was
too.
great. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Side Hustler Podcast. I hope you're leaving here today feeling inspired and ready to take your next step. If you love this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another side hustler who needs to hear it. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Carly Dorlin. I'd love to hear about your side hustling journey. Remember, you're doing better than you think, and your dreams are so worth it. Until next time, keep hustling, sis. You got this.